Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Moe, aka Swedish Whiskey Girl. And today, I feel like I say this every time, but today I am really excited about what we're gonna try. I mean, I get excited about most whiskies, so always fun days when I'm trying something new, and this is certainly something new. So this here is a Highland Rye from Arbikie distillery. It's their 2020 release, so it's just been released. It goes for £130 and it's classed as a single grain Scotch whisky, bottled at 48%. It is new charred American oak. I'm just trying to see if I forget anything. And of course, Arbikie was the distillery that was like leading the race to bottle a rye whiskey in Scotland again. The first Scotch rye whiskey, and they released a 2018 and 2019 release, I believe, and those were both finished in different casks. I believe Armagnac casks for at least one of the releases, but this one here is all new charred American oak. And I know there's been a little chat about the price of this. I haven't tried their previous releases just because of the price. Even buying a dram in a bar was maybe almost like, it was so expensive. I don't know if I remember correctly, but I think it was like £30–40 for a dram, and that's a little bit out of my price range. This is still quite spenny for a non-aged and quite young whiskey. I think the previous ones have been around 4 years old. I'm not entirely sure about the age of the whiskies in this, if it's a mix or if it's not. It's £130. It's quite expensive, and I know a lot of people see it that way, but a lot of people see it like getting one of the first of its kind. I think it's Bruichladdich and Inchdarney that is also doing rye whiskey, or maturing it, or producing it. So hopefully we'll see that soon, because it would be very interesting to see Scotch rye whiskey, or I mean a single grain whiskey but with rye in the mash bill. And whilst we were talking about mash bill, this 1494, which got its name for the long history that the distillery has of farmers, and it consists of a mash bill of both rye, barley and wheat, and they grow a lot of, or I think all of their grains on site. So they have a kind of a farming distillery with that kind of field to bottle thing, which is quite nice. But yes, let's try it. It's funny, 2020 was really the year that I kind of discovered more and more ryes, so this is right on theme, I guess, for, I guess 2021 might be the same as 2020, where I just discovered more and more ryes. But let's have a look on the nose. Ooh. I'm gonna say petrol on the nose, and Cody, he watches the videos and he gives me little pointers sometimes, and he says that if you say petrol, maybe everyone doesn't understand what you mean, and I know I've kind of mentioned it in the past as well, but petrol for me is a slightly chemical but still intriguing and lovely note. It's a positive note for me. But the thing is, it's one of those things. I think petrol is a note or a scent that some people really love. If you're in a gas station and you get the scent of petrol, some people really like it, some people don't. So it's this kind of chemical note, but this also has something else. Like mushrooms. Like raw mushrooms, like when you open up, or if you've been like picking mushrooms, you can get the scent there, but if you open up a packet of raw mushrooms, you can kind of get it as well. Orange, I think. Almost like licorice or some sort of spice, like parsley almost. Not parsley, is it tarragon? It's something. It's a spice that I sometimes put in food, but when I nose it, I'm like, oh, that's quite strong. There is a powerful nose on it. There's a green youthfulness about it, almost that kind of new makey, grassy note. Also something sweet that I'm struggling a little bit to pinpoint, because I don't know if it's like burnt sugar or if it's It almost reminds me of, so I guess it could be like burnt molasses maybe, of a grassy rum. So almost like a rum agricole grassiness. And the sweetness, but it has a specific cake about it. It's a bit like a tiger cake. I don't know if you have those here in Scotland or in the UK. Surely you do. But it's basically, if you don't know what a tiger cake is, it's a sponge cake, but you also mix half of the batter with cocoa powder, and then you get this little pattern. So it's that kind of almost cocoa, what's it called? Just said it. Sponge cake? Yes, that's the word. But let's have a sip. It is weird. It's not like a Scotch on the nose. There's definitely something else there. But it's intriguing. It's like, now I can only get the tiger cakes. There's freshly made tiger cake. But yes, let's have a sip. Sláinte Skål. Spice in there as well, because it's slightly more savoury than the sweet cinnamon. And then I guess kind of a rough sugar, so maybe like a really brown sugar that almost tastes slightly burnt. It's a little bit rough and a little bit robust. And I think you get a slight touch of that youthful grassiness on the palate as well. Really interesting. It's so difficult to place it in my brain because I've never tried anything like this before. I mean, I've tried the James E. Pepper rye that I really enjoyed, but that was in an Oloroso cask, so that wasn't very similar to this, except for that it's rye in the mash bill. And I tried the young sample from Agitator in Sweden, which was absolutely lovely, but that was also very different from what this is. I also don't know how much of the proportions are, is that the word? You get what I mean. Wheat, barley and rye. So you almost get this kind of dustiness that like flowery dustiness that I tend to get on wheat whiskey sometimes. And I think you can kind of pick it up on Weiss beers as well. But it would be interesting to know, to see how all these different parts play in. I mean, it's a very fascinating whiskey. Almost a bit like burnt chocolate as well. But I think one thing that's quite dominant in it is this kind of grain feel to it. It's almost like if you could make wood chips out of grain. So I guess it's like grist. If you could smell and maybe chew grist, but in a very clean and crisp spirit, that's what this is. And I think, I don't know, this is probably just something in my head, but I feel like those taste quite pure. So it tastes like you actually are tasting the raw material in the drink, in the spirit, which, I mean, if you've farmed your own grain and you're very proud of what you're doing and you're doing a single grain whiskey, that is very innovative. Wouldn't you want that? Also, I know I mentioned at the start of this video that it's £130. I think if you become a member of their kind of society thing, not entirely sure how this works, but I think you can get it for 117 if anyone's interested, so it could be worth checking up if you are one of those that are interested in this whiskey. I'm really going to look forward to also having a second sip of this when I haven't just opened the bottle. But I'm certainly very intrigued by what they're going to do in the future. I mean, let me know what you think. What's your favourite rye? Have you tried a Scotch rye, or have you tried a rye from your home country? That is absolutely brilliant. Please let me know in the comment section here below. And of course, if you like this video, please consider leaving a like and maybe subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, I would be absolutely over the moon if you consider using my affiliate links the next time you're shopping with either Master Malt, the Whisky Exchange, or the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. All of those links are in the description here below as well. And of course, links to my other social channels if you're curious about those. As always, a massive thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon. I'm so grateful to have you guys with me in my community and on my whiskey journey. But I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. Sláinte Skål.